Ladies and gentlemen, benvenuti di nuovo. Ci vediamo dopo un mese.
Boys are back.
A month later.
Yeah,
we are still here, still around, right, Mike?
Yeah, we need to cue the music of the boys are back in town now that we've had a little break, a little refresher.
I will do something on Instagram about that, okay? So we can have it.
Love it.
I didn't think about it, but
good to see you, my friend. How are you keeping?
Pretty well. Ready for another Euro trip on my eastern side of Europe, going to Bucharest in a couple of days. So I'm gonna be there for the weekend. I love Bucharest. I love Romania. So just a quick 4 hours drive up there from Bulgaria.
Yeah, you've been busy with the traveling. You're like back to your Ottavio, 10 years ago, back in Colombia and going to South America.
Look, this summer I will be in the States, and I will go to watch a game in Washington D.C., a rugby game.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go watch Scotland again.
Oh, so they're playing USA in Washington.
In Washington, right? So
Interesting.
maybe we're gonna see Tommaso Boni playing, because he's playing actually there in Washington for All Glory DC, but there are the games on. So
we should reach out to Tommy. Tommy, if you're listening, mate,
tell me where to go eat a good pizza in Washington.
Ottavio likes the crazy ones as well, so you're fine.
Exactly.
Kiwi?
I'm got weird stuff. No kiwi, but weird stuff on it too. Anyway, we are live on today. We are on Twitter and on YouTube, so you can chat with us everywhere you want. And I already can see a message. Let me see. It's on YouTube. Evening, boys, from Robbie, Mr. Roberto. Lovely to have you back. Nice to see you here in the chat. A lot to speak, because we miss some occasion.
Yeah. I think for everyone's benefit here, I think what Ottavio and I were planning on doing is just having sort of a bit of a general catch up, because we're back, we're active, so we're just going to sort of get everyone caught up to where what's happened over the past few weeks. So here we go.
Yeah, a lot of news, right? Because today there's the news about the transfers between Zebre Parma and Benetton Treviso, and vice versa, because we have from one side Genovese and Manfredi leaving Parma to go to Treviso. On the other side, there is already Giacomo Dare and a lot of speculation about other players that they could be players that's gonna change in next days, maybe next month. They're gonna change jersey, like somebody call about Drago, somebody Favretto, new players coming. Let's see what's gonna change in the in the ranking.
If it happens with Drago, I'd like people to acknowledge my and your part in making that happen. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I think the players that purely speculation for those who are listening, who are going over, are of great potential, and they'll add like immediately to the team. So yeah, really excited to see that, and I think it's a good move for everyone involved. They've come from what's clearly quite a high level environment, and they can bring that experience, what they've had, their young players, and something to point towards for the younger players and coaches. We have to speak about the coaches, don't we?
Yeah, there was a review from the national, from the federation, let's say, like a couple of weeks ago. So we see Quesada. Of course, it's nice to see Quesada speaking about rugby, because he's literally 100% rugby man. He wants to speak more about what is the heritage, what are the foundation of the team, and where he wants to go with the team, than gossip. Chidi, stuff like that. But there is also Brunello, which is going to be the next with Mattia Dolcetto. So Brunello and Dolcetto, they're going to move to as a head coach for Zebre Parma. There's speculation about Rosselli moving down, maybe in academy, maybe in some clubs. Nothing completely 100% sure. And Richard Hodges, after 1 year with Zebre, is going to move as a defensive coach for national team, which is a great big call, because if we see Zebre doing the results of Zebre in general, the effort, yes, but the results are bad at that point. But Quesada knows more than us, I think, if he calls
for sure.
somebody like him.
Yeah, I'm interested to see sort of where Rosselli goes. I think there's definitely an opportunity because of how heavily involved Fernandez is now with the national team when they're playing. To have someone help as national director, like high performance director, just an assistant high performance director. I think his experience from the under-20s and the step up at URC, we don't have many coaches that Italian coaches that have seen both sides of that and can start articulating how you get from point A to point B to some of the younger players.
Brunello and Dolcetto is the new Cantucci and Vinsanto. As we said, two coaches that reach good results with the under-20s. They know a lot of those players. Like, let's just say a name that we completely forget this year, which is Giovanni Quattrini, for example, the hooker of the national team. That he didn't play at all for Piacenza, for Lions Piacenza, but he's going to be in the roster of the Zebre next year, so he's going to be one of them. Ferrari is another one. Let's see what's going to change too, because speculation about Scalabrini now, who knows where he's going, this big fella, the young Mustang. If he's going to stay as a winger in the Serie A elite, if he's going to move as a center like Bortolami thinks about it, he's going to be a winger for the next year for Zebre in some occasion. There is Bozzoni, a lot of those players. No, so talking on the Zebre side, we started from with Zebre. A lot of changes, a lot of passion we need for this team anyway. And let's see who is going to be like the marquee contract next year, because a lot of players are leaving, as Fox Matamua is one of them. Tifiden is leaving, so there's going to be more in charge. People like Montemauri Prisciantelli, the centers. We saw Franco Smith Jr., son of Franco Smith, coach of Glasgow Warriors, leaving too. Surprisingly, Pier Bruno's leaving, so a lot of trust in Ben Cambriani, I guess, from this side, and Jacopo Trulla. A lot to change. Is another foundation year for Zebre, kinda, but the structure of the team is that one. It's not going to change so much, I think, right? So now it's just a change of mentality, little details to change.
Yeah. I think what we've learned from Zebre is they, first of all, obviously, it goes to show how important experience is in a competition like the URC. But also what we've seen is how quick things can change with a couple of injuries when you're trying to build that experience within the team. Trulla getting injured for a little while, and we saw sort of the decline a little bit in, Cambriani getting injured, and we saw you sort of see how impactful those are when you're trying to understand a combination of a team, how these players are playing, what's the position that's best for them, and you're just learning. And I think Rosselli did, as probably expected with things that were given to him. So it's going to be interesting to see sort of how this team evolves next year.
It's going to be really interesting. Yes, let's just share the situation now. A couple of weeks, like a week away, but 2 weeks, because next week is going to be actually this weekend. It's interesting because we have a player that's going to play the final, European final. So let's going to talk about that later, right? For the Gloucester fans, as me. But anyway, Zebre Parma. There is a big change, you say, because a lot of players changing points. Last year there was 1 point. That's crazy for me, thinking about, like, they were so close to get bad, to be better against Scarlets, but things it wasn't that the night, let's say, because when you lose, as you said, look in so early in the game and Prishantel, and you have to put Stavile on the left winger, well, something is not in the best hypothesis of the coach, right? I mean, it's something you have to try. You have to be ready to put it there, but it sucks when you want to plan something. We speak a lot in our WhatsApp chat about, hey, when Lukin and Morisi work together, play together, the results are better for Zebre.
Yeah,
but that's not the case. But anyway, 15 points. The same amount of defensive point of last year. They scored 10 tries less than last year, but more or less there. If we have to think about Hodges, what he did, probably a little bit less than 100 points distance, but there is one match to play more, so probably 60 points less. Still a lot of points on the, but a lot of better attack, I guess. I know the issues are there because they are last in the result, but it's a developing franchise, right, Mike?
yeah, it's a development franchise. Connor. Every time someone slates Zebre, I point to Connor. Like that's the model, right? That's the model that we're trying to do. Give these players experience. If they want to then re-sign, great. If they want to go elsewhere, great. You know, like that's the option that we have. Like we want to blood these players. We want to give them experience, and then potentially when players move elsewhere from, you know, Benetton, potentially there's some sort of conversation to be had with the franchise, or they can go and sort of cut their teeth abroad. So there's opportunity everywhere for players to sort of grow within that franchise. And you know, I always feel like I'm a broken record, but they're so young.
One question, Mike. Do you think it's because a lot of speculation from the Italian side, let's say, no, from the Italians is, well, we need Zebre. If they don't win Zebre, what we should do with Zebre? So I am more to put a third franchise in some European tournament than take one off and just keep Benetton in. I'm to open space for more to show more how different is the playing the Serie A elite and what is playing in Europe. Yeah, so I'm more on that side. I'm more to bring something that can show a different level, because Serie A elite was pretty slow, the semifinals. Vialan is playing beautifully, but it's not the best, let's say.
Yeah, so
I mean,
you're saying
Zebre is still stronger than I think the best team in Serie A elite.
yeah,
But it's
so
not for the quality of the players, but for the speed of the game.
So you're saying have a franchise in a European competition, so like
a third one too, because people wants to take Zebre out and forget about it. I'm
so
to keep
have
the
one
Zebre
franchise.
in, to give more time, to have a space to develop players, to give game time, to risk, to fail, to grow, to learn. And then I need probably almost another one if we think about all those players that are playing just as Poars now, or the best prospect of the national team, the Emergenti. You remember the Emergenti? This year probably is not going to be any Emergenti like B team for A team for Italy. So maybe
the Emergenti did bits against Leicester, right? A full strength Leicester side as well. Do you remember last year because of the pandemic?
Fusco Montemauri playing 9 and 10.
Marin got injured that game as well. He hurt his shoulder, and that's what put him out, right? But there is that team, considering they're playing against, you know, the team that went on to win the Premiership, or went into the final of the Premiership, I should say. Sorry, they were pretty impressive. Like, and that was, you know, a mixture of a load of components from Serie A, Benetton, you know, these fringe players. So yeah, the talent's there. You can't argue that the talent's there for a third franchise, but it's hard to argue the inclusion of a third franchise in any competition if Zebre aren't doing well. So that's sort of the trade-off, right? So I can see why people, you know, that people call for heads. I don't think it's the right route, because I think we've got a player pool of growing over 100,000 players, and they need to be able to play somewhere. So, for reference, Ireland have 120,000, right? So we're actually only 20,000 behind, and they've got 4 successful franchises, right? So that, you know, they're doing really, really well with that. What they have on the benefit of us is, you know, it's a much smaller territory that they have to look after, but it is regionalized. So if we're going to talk about franchises, we're going to have to talk about how are we going to open up the rest of Italy, and that's the conversation that we always tend to have, right? That's where we go.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be interesting to see how the move politically moves everything in a couple of years, because next spring is gonna be already election time in Italy. So let's see what they're gonna try to do to change. We know for example, the Serie A is gonna change again, but the key to change everything for me are to get to follow the idea of new coaches, or at least coaches that want to try to play more, less conservative, but try to play the ball. And that's what Viadana is trying to do. Let's just remember that Viadana is this little town in the north of Italy, let's say, but the team is being coached by Fernandez first, Urdaneta second, and then Gilberto Pavan now is on charge, and they play with a lot of Italian qualified Argentinian players, a lot of skills, a lot of style, nice style to play, but it's a lot also of coaching there through the veins of the players and the coaches, because Pavan talked really well about what Fernandez brought from Argentina. So let's see how stuff are gonna move in that way. But there are interesting players all over. But there too, Locatelli probably MVP of the season, Sause, the fullback, good players. Let's see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's actually something I think about a lot, which is sort of the quality of the elite coaching in Italy. Obviously, with the 4 sort of centers of formation previously, it seems like they had a Bood who sort of oversaw that, and he would obviously provide some sort of input with the coaching. And obviously, like you said, it sounds like we're doing really well with Fernandez, you know, being able to articulate, right, a style of play. This is what we want Italian players to be playing. But then it's, how do we affect the opinion of every other coach to align to a method, to align to a methodology and a way of playing that's going to benefit us as a country? So that's my concern, because obviously we've had, you know, 15 years of failed success, exposure to, you know, a very anglicized way of playing, which doesn't work for us. We just, like, physically we struggle to compete against like the Anglo team. So we need to develop a new way. So like you said, playing a more expansive game and trying to throw the ball around as opposed to having set piece dominance, it just makes sense, right?
No, Quesada spoke about that with ESPN Argentina. ESPN Scrum is the TV program, and he said, "Look, we were the youngest, the lightest team, so we cannot go straight. So let's say South African style, not straight hard lines on hard line, and then we're gonna find a way. We have to move. We have to move around. We have to be expensive. We have to try to build on what we have already, which is what Crowley left in attack, and from there changing the pattern, changing the shapes, and playing a different kind of game, more with a better kicking game. But let's see, that is gonna happen too. But let's move to Benetton, because probably we're gonna spend a lot of time like reviewing at the end of the season. So after next week, we're gonna review the Zebre season. But talking about the season, probably is gonna be more than one game for Benetton. 75% of possibility to be in the playoff, which means probably gonna play. You're not gonna play home game, but
is it 75% though? I'm just trying to think,
that's what URC posted the other day. They post something on the social medias. Let's say. Let me go check through again. But
So I'll tell you why I'm concerned about the 75%. If Sharks beat Gloucester and
I know.
Benetton come eighth, like that's already like 50-50. So like if Gloucester play like they did against Benetton and Sharks have a bad game, right, cool. But
Of course, they're gonna have a bad game. I can tell you. They need a bad game. We want Varney to win. We want my person to be happy.
Yeah, no, obviously we want because obviously for us as well, as Italian fans, whether you support Zebre, whether you support Benetton, we want the movement to do well. And if the 8th place becomes redundant and we are 8th, that's heartbreaking. We hit like playoff, the right place for the playoff, and we don't make it because someone else takes it. So, yeah, it's 75% for me is optimistic, my friend.
Well, I hope the best, and as it stands, in case everything is gonna end in the same way, the game is gonna be in Limerick against Munster, the big red machine, because Munster is a big red machine, actually. It's yes, Josh, yes, a win for the Gloucester. Also, because in that way, Benetton fans can say, "Hey, we lost, but we lost against the champions." Which is not bad to say, right? It's always good. But Benetton Treviso, man, is better.
Yeah.
Indorare la pillola, no? When you have to get a pill, but you want to do, you know what? It's better than that, but still a pill that you have to, from another side, has to enter, right? So you think, you know what? That is better. But anyway,
yeah.
Benetton. Let's see the situation of the Benetton Treviso team. They already scored the most points of the last 5 seasons. They won 10 games, never happened before in the last 5 seasons, of course. They have a really, really point difference is -14 at the moment, something really good. And that is also something for me that when I have to think about, like, okay, Hodges is the guy that is going to be in charge of the defense. But I think also what they're doing with Treviso defense is great. It's amazing. But the contract is stronger, is with Benetton Treviso, which is also, yes, federation, but also a private. No, so Mr. Zatta and the Benetton family. So that's why maybe we cannot have Macri and all these guys, no? Right. So that's why Hodges is the other choice, because for me, the best option, okay, if I was Quesada, in my mind, I'm going to get the attacking wise, I can go with Rosselli, because it clicked anyway. The way to attack, straight, simple, easy, effective sometimes, but the mistakes are there, but the national team is different than Zebre. And defensive coach, I'm going to get the defensive coach of Benetton, because it get so good with the team, but this is not going to happen. But that's why I think Treviso, the defense helps a lot more than attack this couple of seasons. What do you think about the Benetton Treviso last games, Mike? You think they can smash Edinburgh?
Yeah, I mean, smashing Edinburgh is probably optimistic, because obviously it's all to play for them as well, and they're going to come in with fire in their belly. But yeah, they absolutely have to be favourites going in. They have to be strong favourites going in, considering what it could potentially mean for the team. Yeah, it's just I'm really tentative about sort of saying, yeah, I think it's going to be a 30-point win, because I think it's going to be close. And when it's close, I feel like you tempt fate when you're like, oh yeah, I think Benetton, they're just going to edge it, like, because better than I do. Small margins, my friend. But yeah, they definitely have the ability to win. They definitely have the players to win. Definitely have everything in their favor to win. It's just, for me, it's that. It's
mentality change. Something that I didn't like about last game of Benetton was so quick the way the Bulls scored the try last weekend. for example, it was something like, come on. But then they was waiting to, okay, who cares? We have to score the tries. We need to get out of this game with at least 1 point. So they scored at the end of the 5 tries. I was happy to see Ratave passing the ball for Alafi, something that didn't happen. No, the small margin. Sometimes it's also that detail. Pass the ball and is not instead of smashing the player in front of you. Or sometimes, like think about 2 weeks ago, Menoncello. Then they scored by from set piece with a nice flat pass of Brex 2 weeks ago against Gloucester. Was a nightmare of knock-on forward passes between Brex and Menoncello. The week after actually, was better.
That's the reason why I was going to say for me it's up there, because Gloucester started that game really well. Like, they were pressuring, the multi-phase was really good. They were making yards on every carry. Zach Mercer was an absolute nightmare.
And you were there at the stadium too, so
yeah. I've got notes. Right, I was taking notes of everything I was feeling. But I just feel as though, for me, it's really important for Benetton to have a good opening 10 minutes, and that's going to define how they play out. Because if the 10 minutes are anything like what they did away at Gloucester, admittedly it was at Gloucester, and it was I don't know if it came through on the TV, it was so hostile for those players. They're going to put their heads down, and that for me is the difference. It's they start well. Obviously, the Benetton fans are great at the Monegal, so like they'll just get behind them. But it's those first 10 minutes, my friend. If they've got nerves and they concede a soft one, then it's uphill struggle. So we'll see.
That's interesting because, for example, they've been scored like the majority of the try against Benetton were let's say pretty even, but Benetton start to turn on when at the end of the quarters. So maybe last quarter they scored 13 tries until now in the URC, and the second part of the first half with 12. But they always start. They want to stay closer in the game by kicking, by staying there, but then they shine later. So the physicality is good. No, the way they are ready with Zanni, the former Italian national player, which is in charge of that of scrum strength and conditioning too. With the team, is pretty good.
I was going to say, speaking of, what do we know about the injuries? Do we know who's out?
Injuries. So nothing yet, because the big issue was Menoncello, which came out from for an HIA, I think, right? And
I mean the loose heads. That's what concerns me.
So Gallo was back. Gallo is back, and then the rest of the injuries are still there. I mean,
so it's Gallo. Gallo's probably going to be titolare, right? He's going to probably
Gallo,
start.
yes.
So then we have Zanni's injured as well, right? So
Zanni's injured.
Destiny's injured, right?
Some kind of injuries too, yeah. But in case probably, I think
Spagnolo's injured.
Nemer
that's
is
what
injured,
concerns me as well. Yeah, it's just Zanni's injured as well. So that's 4. Like, let's be honest. Of the starting 5,
that sucks.
4 are injured, right? Loose heads. So I don't know who. I don't know. I don't know who else could be there. Right?
No, Gallo, Spagnolo, or worst case scenario is going to be Ferrari. Ferrari moving on the left side of the scrum is the third choice. Of course, Destiny Amino too, which wasn't so bad. Actually, I can say, but he came off injured, the right path. He came off. Destiny was fit for the Bulls. Christopher saying.
Okay, right. So fine. So they're just protecting us.
Good stuff. Then they changed. Then came in again. If I'm right, Gallo, but they had a couple of weeks really hard talking about scrums. And talking about scrums, what do you think about the new laws? Do you like this free kick the Damian Willems cannot do?
No, I don't. I don't. I think it puts a lot of question in, fair play if people are just going to abuse, an early engagement or
the way to go around the new laws, let's say.
I mean, it's quite easy, right? Like you push early or you just break foot early. Like it's easy for you to do that. If you're doing that constantly, then surely that you should be penalized. So it's a good way, like, unless they put something in the laws that if it is an obvious, like referees hate, well, referees hate having to say, put an opinion on something. They want it black or white. This is going to put so much grey in between. Oh, I think they're cheating on purpose because they only engaged on purpose. Well, how can you prove that? You can't. Like, oh, he like there's so much grey around it. So I don't like it. No, I think it is a big part of the game. I understand the concept of why they're doing it because ball in play time, it's easy to sort of mismanage, but the way they can do that is just stopping the clock until they've engaged. Stop the clock for scrums. Just say, okay, pause. But like if that's an issue, and they're saying there's not enough ball in play time, pause. Like, okay, pause. as soon as they've engaged, time on, done, boom. That would resolve the situation.
I think we are running so much, changing that probably we need a 3 years break from new rules. I guess the safety, so the crocodile roll. Okay, perfect. Okay, sanction for that, but then stop changing. I mean, probably it's time to keep the laws in a certain way because we are changing so much that the players are working with the laws, but you go in the North Hemisphere, they're keeping some rules. In the Southern Hemisphere, they're keeping other rules. And then there are all the issues about, for example, if you watch the top 14, how many times they eat so hard, high tackles, stuff that you just play on is a jouet, but it's not a jouet because if you do that in an international game, in Six Nations, it's going to be a red card, a yellow card.
Yeah.
That's crazy the way there's no consistency across the leagues.
But that's also the point I'm making. When you leave stuff to interpretation and you're adding more stuff to interpretation, mine and your views are going to be different. So do you know what I mean? Like it leaves a margin of error. And if we want consistency, having consistency in interpretation, like they're just completely opposite things. So either make it black and white, clear and obvious, right? Or stop putting things in between where they could potentially cause, some that for me is what I find frustrating when they're adding more like it used to be, right? A deliberate knock on, there was, it used to be right. It was deliberate. Then it came down to interpretation. So then they were saying, okay, well, if he goes with it with one hand and it goes forward, that's a deliberate knock on. But now they've changed it so that if they go with it with one hand and they're in a position, so now it goes back to interpretation. So like deliberate foul play, like was it deliberate foul play or was it just now it's just foul play, right? So that's black and white. That's a good example where they've taken away interpretation. If it's head contact, okay, we'll work through this. Yeah, we'll work through this annoying framework, but like it's obvious, right? Now you're going to say, okay, that's the frustrating thing for me. I've got to be honest.
Wow, so how much you think is going to change more before the next, let's say, next World Cup? What they're going to change? Because then I'm thinking, what they're going to change?
It's moving more and more to rugby league. Like let's be honest, right? They want more ball in play time. How do they do it? 50-22, more space, cool. Like better attack. Okay, cool. They want reduce scrum times, cool. They want more ball in play time, cool. Like we're going to do a goal line dropout, cool. Like there's so much stuff that they're already trying to sanitize from the game that it's transitioning.
People want to be clever in the now, no? Like Ben O'Keefe is pushing a lot of this, which is something that I really like on Instagram. He's posting a lot of stuff about laws.
Oh,
so
you almost got attacked there. Cancelled
for what I said, right?
Yeah. Heinous.
The walks of rugby. Laws, the hipster.
The
Anyway,
nose of rugby.
the nose, more nosy than me with the shapes of rugby.
No.
The other ones.
You like if this was a school, right? There's some noses which are like, you know, high school, like, oh, excuse me, trying to be hipsters. You're a professor, my friend. You've had a doctorate of nose. You're fine.
And can I have some kombucha, please? Something like
kombucha,
that.
love it.
Kombucha.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, for me, I think, you know, if we want to keep the game, you're right. We just need to stop fucking about with the game. We need to make sure that there's some consistency. We need to make it stop making it confusing for new fans, for new players. We have to make it more accessible, not more complicated. And that's, again, something that, you know, World Rugby clearly don't fucking understand, do they? Because it's something that we always have these discussions consistently. But yeah, it's just something like that. It's what puts I reckon if we did a poll, and we polled, you know, 10,000 football fans, what puts you off rugby? I guarantee over 70% of them don't understand the rules. It's hard to follow. Like, that's it. Like, because in terms of a sport, every single impact, every single carry, every single little thing that it does is exciting in rugby. You know? Anyway, rant over.
Let's keep talking about Benetton Treviso. So Benetton Treviso, pretty good at the end of the season, thinking about like losing Odogu for a lot of time, which is key. We know Mendy is good, but Odogu is better. Ratave pops and blooms in the right moment of the season. A lot of new players going around, but some players completely missed. Padovani is one of them. Minozzi left, retired during the season. Some players we were waiting to see more between Marin finally start playing 10. Please, Leonardo, do not offload every ball you have in your hands. Please. Because I loved you, but
let the boy cook.
Man, it's always trying to pass the ball. And on the ground, I'm gonna pass the ball.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And teammates, you know what Marin is gonna try to do. So get ready with your hands, because every time there is he always try to give the ball away. It's crazy the amount of times
Sonny Bill Marin.
Sonny.
That's what he is,
Leo Marin Williams.
Hey, that's it. But you get the thing is, right? He's just, you know, such an exciting player. Like, he is. If he had more time, he wasn't injured, I think we'd probably be talking the same, you know, level of praise as, you know, Menoncello or Bani. Like, he is the next generation of rugby player that we have, and we just need to make sure that he
nice
stays.
Marincello, Mike. Nice Marincello.
Hey, I'd love that. I'd love to see that. I would love it. Do you think there's space for Marincello in the world? Do you think there's a little partnership there that we can have?
It would be in 2027. We're gonna go with Marincello.
Project 2027, right?
Yeah, of course. Or maybe against Argentina. Because just to remember, this season, of course, there is another game, probably two. Actually, I don't think they're going to be more than 2 games more for Benetton, but I hope they're going to win, upset Munster there against a Munster machine, because at the moment they are literally a Munster machine.
Stranger things happen at sea, my friend. Stranger things happen at sea.
You don't know what's going to happen. But except for that, this summer is going to be so interesting, because we want to stay there with... we want results, seems like. Marzio, Innocenti and company, during the review, they spoke about results. We have to win all the games against the teams that are under us in the ranking.
Can I ask you your opinion on that, if that's okay?
Go ahead.
So, for me, right, you as a coach, put your coach hat on quick. So, Do you think that benefits the team? What he said.
Man,
If you're
I
coaching,
don't want a president to speak about the results
yeah,
open in front of the media. Actually, if I have to be honest with you now. Those
yeah,
stuff
no,
are stuff that you have to think with your coach and stuff. You don't need to put pressure, and every time
that,
it's more pressure on. They know already because nothing it's given for free to Italy, so we have to take everything. So respect, credibility, okay. Step after that, consistency, which is what Quesada is doing, and still we are in the consistency not only in a Six Nation that we were waiting to attack in that way, because this was the Six Nation we were waiting for, the post Rugby World Cup. We said that during the many times, and now it's time to stay there to show that we deserve to be good and to be in the top 10, whatever, but still win games. As a coach, I would like to change something, to test some players during this summer. Of course, you're gonna bring a lot of players, I guess, because you
who are
want
you
to
gonna
test.
again? Coach Octavio hat on. Who do you want to see that we haven't seen? Who do you want to see that we've seen little of? Who do you think has potentially come back from injury that we need to see?
I would like to, I mean, okay, let's talk about the injuries. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know how long it's gonna be still for player like Odogu,
Odogu.
like
Yeah,
Nemer, of course, because those
yeah,
are the players you want to understand how good they are. Because Spagnolo deserve to be there. Fischietti Spagnolo on the left
yeah,
is
for sure.
Fischietti Spagnolo. Punto. I mean, period. Nothing else. Those are
Yeah,
the two players on that side. But you want to see different. I want to see Yakitsi with the
yep,
team, because we miss Yakitsi during the Six Nation with some different injuries. I want to see more of Favoretto. I want to understand what can we do with Gallagher, which is going to come too, because probably it's not going
yeah.
to be the first choice. No, now as a fullback, but you want to bring some players there. So Gallagher is
He's
one of those.
he's like
Yes, please.
a like for like replacement for Padovani, isn't he? Let's be honest, Gallagher.
Yes, the difference is that Padovani moved from. It was a former 10, was a fly half. Padovani, when he moved to Toulon, from Zebre Toulon, all the issues around there. No, there was with this player, and then he moved back. So Padovani moved on the wing, on the fullback, but it was more a 10. Gallagher, how they call him, Mister.
Reliable. Is
Yeah,
it Mr. Reliable?
reliability, something like
Yeah,
that. So it's big boat. I want to see how we can manage to stay in the team. I want to see more Pajrelo, of course, this summer.
yeah.
I would like to see JC actually. Also, we know he's gonna be tested in defense, but pretty like this guy deserves something to try. Let's see what he's gonna do. Let's see also the comments, because somebody's gonna start writing here. Let's see. Favorite. Ho detto bentornati Beniamino, thank you
Grazie, grazie.
Beniamino. Don't bring that to Lomo, you cruel man. Yes, of course, because that was something, a big what if.
Mm.
But these players I want to see Itzegor, of course. But on the other side, I want to keep seeing the development of Zambonin, which is been really good when he came in from the bench. I want to see
It's been his best
Mister.
season, hasn't it? Like let's be
Man,
honest. He's been it's night and day. Like you can see it bubbling. Like end of season, you can see it now. Like if he kicks on from the end of this season, he's going to be a player, mate. He's going to be a real player.
This guy Ferrari, of course, Captain Jack Ferrari is one of them. We have to try to see more of Manfredi. Speaking about changes, we need to bring in a moment Manfredi in to start playing starting. I know it's not the time because we have a great Lucchesi, great Nicotera, but we have to find the moment
Dino.
to let them play. Dino Lamb, of course. Yeah. Dino Lamb. This is the guy probably that Paolo is saying. I guess Paolo.
Yeah.
Dino Lamb that say bye to the season. It's not the season he dreamed, because he had this big huge injury. But let's see what's gonna happen there. But hey, Samoa, Tonga, Linag. Tom, you're saying, right? Tom Linag, right? Number 10 from Reds. Carlo Tizzano is right there. Come on. Bring it in.
He's Tom Liners, they were talking him up in that he's going to get picked for maybe this rugby championship, isn't it?
Tizzano, you think?
No.
Tom Linag.
Tom. Yeah, Tom. Like
Tom
he might
Linag
not play.
He's injured. He's injured, but everybody's speaking like
very highly of him, aren't they?
Yeah. That's the point about these players.
He's very
Zuliani, big Zuliani, is a player that I want to see 80 minutes in the field, no injuries, no from the bench. I want to see him 80 minutes of pure Zuliani, the Kraken.
Same with Izuko as well. Same. You want to see him like full 80? Do you think he has full 80 in him? Because he always comes on like.
It's different the way, but hey, you can develop in some way, because when we had it in the team, we didn't use it. Think about what was the Ireland game.
Yeah.
But then you see when he has space, you see how he changed the games for Benetton a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like the Zanon try game after he gained 30 meters on the left side, and then Duvenagi is smart, he knows where to go and how to clean. The other game they won against, I don't remember now, against who was the last game.
The while back, outside on the right.
Big stuff. It's pretty ready.
Yeah, he's a talent, mate. He's a talent. I've got a few names I'm going to throw up. Odiase, I want to see him. Right. Need to see him. Right.
May.
I think Vincent, we know, but I'd love to see him, like just all out play.
Talking about Vincent, is the third player in the Premiership for Rack Eats.
Is he? Mate, he's an animal.
Third in the back rows. Yes,
he's an animal.
I posted today on Twitter.
He hasn't really played every game either.
No, neither. So the pizza delivery guy. Let's see. Rack hits per 80 minutes. He eats 29 average. Dan Thomas 30. Will Evans 32. So
can I ask you a question, right? Just because I saw a lot of opinions on it on Twitter. Don't have to answer it. I'm happy to give my opinion on it. But was it a red? Yes or no?
Ooh, a silly red.
Should I give my opinion on it first, quick then?
So, for me, it's a silly red.
Yeah. So letter of the law, yes, it's a red. Like Carl Dixon had to give that as a red because he got dropped on his head. But this is such a stupid red. Anyway,
I didn't get it at all. The way, like, come on, what you doing, Jasper?
Oh, he just lost it. He just lost it. Anyway, is what it is. He Vincent. We've got so many things. I'd like to see Marin start any position. Marin 10, Marin 12. I don't care. I want to see him start one And then my follow-up question to that is: if we were going to bring this big cohort of players, when do you play them? Like which team? Do you play them all at once? Do you mix, across the matches? What would you do?
You bring 2-3 players in for every game. Some starting, some not. Yeah. Like Pani, I want to see him. I want to understand where we're gonna see him in the future for the national team, because probably he's gonna be more a winger.
Monte Mauri, great calls as well. Yeah.
These guys, they have to fly. I think anyway they have to fly. I mean, I want 45 players going for a lot of time, and then 30 players. Come on, 35.
Can I be honest with you?
Traveling team are really.
I can accept not having an emergenti team play this year. Like, as a fan, I can accept that if we had a really large, players going out. Yeah, like for me, it's because we just want to expose them to the best level, right? You could
absolutely. And so we're going in the Pacific, and there we have Tom Linag. Okay, we have Carlo Tizzano, another one Italian qualified, and then there is Ottavio Tuipulotu, Mike. The third of the Tupulotus. Otto Tavi.
Yeah.
Fucking Tavi Tupulotus. Tavi. I get mad when people call me Tavi. Think about it. I prefer Otto than Tavi. But anyway, so there are these three players because Mosese is going to be a new Edinburgh player next year. So 2 out of 3, they choose Scotland. Of course, the third is going to go with Scotland. Is an hooker, the third one.
I don't really need hookers.
Tavio.
Yeah, I think, right, genuinely, I was going to say it when you brought up his name. If Quattrini develops this season, right, he's going to take it. This season's written off for him. I'm sure he'll get game time, but I think the expectation on him, it's probably going to be a bit high because he hasn't played URC. But next season, he should be pushing, with Nicotera, Lucchesi, right? Like, we should have him in the mix with that. He should really be trying to do that. Oh no, you've said it, and look what Joshua has said now. Oh, it's happened.
Maledetto, Josh. Maledetto. Before coming back to the URC, because we have to speak a little bit, because we are part of the voting panel of the URC. Let's just remind to all the listeners a couple of stuff.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Drop us a follow on X, former Twitter, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. You can listen for Fratelli D Rugby podcast on Spotify and every other platforms. We also have a group chat on WhatsApp. So message us to join the family.
Boom.
We are again. So we are part of the panel for the election of the next player of the season, next gen player. So let's go through the names. We're gonna then have a little chat more before giving, because we have time, a week more to decide. But there's no Italian in the list given, but we can always add players. If you have to think a player that really deserved this prize as an Italian, this award
in the URC, guys. So it can't be for national team.
Yeah. So let's think about what they did in the URC. Which one is one of the Italian players, or a player that plays in Italy, maybe is young, that you think, yes, he deserved it, or maybe he deserved it more than. I guess one, which is Spagnolo. First season, great impact. Of course, we saw with the national team, but same impact with the club. So probably him is the name at the moment.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue. I like, obviously I don't want to influence, because I'm actually really interested to hear. I think Spagnolo's like, that should be on everyone's lips, right? But I want to hear like the other fringe players that everyone has, something like that. Yeah,
Spagnolo Zambonin by Robert Smithson, Bebeto, whatever, because I always remember the logo, but I know it's different sometimes, depending by the social media. So yes, Spagnolo Zambonin, a good season. Which one was better this year? Jesse, a young Jesse, or young Trulla? You like more this season, Mike?
Jesse. Jesse. I think Trulla. You can see it, but also like. The same issue with like the things, it's up here that concerns me with Trulla. Like, it's not even the bouts of like rage. It's you've gone past the try line. Why risk getting injured and doing a sidestep when you could just put the ball down? So little things like that just bother me.
They
like,
want to fight.
Well, it's like
trouble.
You've just come back from injury, right? Why do you need to break a guy's ankles like with a sidestep and risk breaking your own ankles on a sidestep when you could just put the ball down? Like, if I'd done that, my coach would be yelling at me,
fuming,
so angry, man, because there's no point risking injury. But then he does have some really nice attributes. Trulla's brilliant in the air. Like, he gets up in the air higher. He's brave in aerially, he's very, very brave, and he's got a nice boot, and these little things, it's there, right? Components are there. It's that for me. I think that's a bit of an issue with Trulla.
And here, Robert, think about Trula doesn't have enough space and pace and enough power.
No,
Interesting. Interesting about Tula. Graziotto, not quite in the Spanish bracket, but
Asa.
Bianchi was good. Asa, yes.
Asa, yes.
Asa,
He's been brilliant, man.
Talking about prize award voting panel, we are also in the Elite 15, and for the props, justice for the props, we have Thomas Gallo and Mohamed Asa in the list given. Then we can add more. Oxenche, Gallo, Steenkamp, Schumann, Riscarre, Nick Smith, Domakowski, Asa, Jones, Smith, and whoever you want. But we have Gallo and Momo Asa. He can be so interesting, this player, playing right and left. He doesn't care. It seems like playing in the same way, both sides of the scrum. That can be key for the national team to add this adaptability that he has. It's not so easy to change, but it seems pretty. Yeah, Porter is one that you want two different Six Nation, one playing on the left and one playing on the right, which is crazy thinking, no?
That's mad. Yeah, he's I agree. Hasa could be interesting, really interesting for the national team.
Yeah, that is been one of the interesting stuff about Zebre this year, how they switch now. At the beginning of the season, we say, come on, it's not possible now what they're doing, and then it worked. So pretty interesting. Of course, we have Gallo for Benetton. We have Gallo. There is Fekitoa. There is Lucchesi, Iachizzi, Izekor, Lamaro, Toa Alafi, non Nicolò Cannone, Andy Uran, great season. Thomas Albornoz and Umaga, both in the fly-out position. Zanon for the center and Fekitoa, as I said. There's no Menoncello, no Brex. They play less. They play the key games. They shine. Majority of the game they play together. This season we cannot blame Benetton. Just we can think about the moment they lose their head, their mind, their head with Scarlets, a couple of games like that. But then the season was great, and of course they did what they have to do against my Gloucester team, right? So they let Stephen Varney go in the final. 9 years.
Let him pass. I'm excited to see Barney play, to be honest. He's been good. Drago next season, maybe, mate. Maybe Drago next season.
Here is gonna be interesting because maybe in a couple of weeks we can think about where you would like to put a new player, which kind of player. Then we can try to find profiles of player that can be interesting. But Drago, so a center for the Zebre, can be really interesting, and Drago is one of them. Zanon even better, probably.
Cambriani, you see him more as a center or as a winger?
Cambriani, I want to see him first, and then we can decide. I want to see him walking without any
fine.
stuff.
Yeah, okay.
He plays second outside center. Yes, secondo centro. In the preseason, but then he started wing, so he has the ability to play both. He's an all-around player, seems like. So
you've been watching more of Serie A this season than I have for sure, but you watch more of it than most people, I assume. But if you had a little shopping list, who would you say Zebre would benefit from the Serie A? If you had like money wasn't an issue, contracts weren't an issue, you could just go and be like, I want that player. Who would you have?
So if I have to pick players,
purely Serie A, just like
purely Serie A, Mattias Sauze as a fullback,
right?
Former Argentina 7. Love the way he play. Ferrara, great call. Ferrara is really good. He's the hooker of Colorno, second top scorer of the season.
Good enough to make the step, because obviously we still got like Ribaldi who seemed to do quite well in Serie A Elite, and then he comes to Zebre and let's be honest.
Man, I think so. Watching Di Bartolomeo, if Di Bartolomeo is there, Italian Dencinen, Ferrara can play there. So yes, cool. I think Ferrari is another one. I like Minervino, Francisco Minervino as a prop. If I have to put, but I hope Nicolai is gonna play better. I like San Andrea. What else? Let me think about other players that are really. Okay, Ferrario, because Brogin Ferrario. Ferrario seems like he's going to Petrarca next year, which is a big change, right? It's like Lazio Roma, from Lazio to Roma or vice versa. It's the same. But Facundo Ferrario, which is Italian qualified too, is not. He's gonna move to Petrarca. He's a player that I was waiting to change to grow. So going in URC maybe last year, I was already waiting for that. Him and Brogin. What else you want? A number 9. I'm going with.
They need 9. They need 9 for sure.
They need 9. So one between Bazan Veles and Chiton, both of Rovigo.
Chiton was.
Of course, the best is Tebaldi still. Tito Tebaldi is still the best, number 9 in Serie A Elite.
What was the there was the under 21 begin with C. Was it called Coffee? Oh, I can't remember his name.
Antoine Coffee.
No. He was a number 8, right? You're
number 8. He played for Colorno.
That's it. The academy games against Ireland. Right, yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
Quoghi. So
yeah.
these are some of the players I like. I like Ruiz. I like Locatelli for Viadana too. Two players.
I completely forgot about Gallerini as well. Next year.
Gallerini usually is the bench for Mogliano, but let's see what's gonna happen next year.
He's at Benetton, right? That's confirmed.
Let's see, because today we were chatting, right? No, let's see. Like if he's, for example, I was expecting Frangini to move to Benetton next year. Like, okay, I play 1 year in Mogliano, come back. And it seems like he's gonna go play for Rovigo. So I don't know if Gallerini is gonna start for URC now or not. That's the big thing.
I mean, he's 19, isn't he?
Yeah, Mike, we're gonna have time to speak about transfers and stuff in a couple of weeks. Maybe you're gonna speak more this week. All eyes on Gloucester, right?
Yeah. Let's go, Gloucester. Let's
go, cazzo. Andiamo.
I want to see Barney score 17 tries. Right?
Yes,
at least I'll be disappointed in 16. Get out.
Yes. Winning a scrum against Oxenshire, playing one with a lot of water retention.
I want to see Big Stephen hold up a maul by himself, because they're going to maul everything, right? So
Hopefully. I hope Mr. Hastings is gonna have a good game. That's what I guess. But let's see.
You know what, right? So one of my good friends, I won't say who he was, when there was like the bubble for the RFU, he was in like that bubble at Denton Lock, and he always used to say to me, he's like, man, like what's his name from Gloucester is just gas, absolute gas. What's his name? Ollie Forley.
Ollie Thorley, yeah.
Mate, Forley is like lightning. When watching him live, mate, like you just don't appreciate like how much the acceleration, man. He holds this is an interesting fact. I don't know if you know this, but I think he holds like a national record for like 100 meters at under 16. Like he was like really quick, and he's gas, mate. He's so quick. He's such an impressive runner. Hopefully we see him play.
Hopefully, yeah. Lucagnom is not gonna play, so it's gonna be interesting there too. But anyway, we're gonna leave all this little chat about wingers for Treviso, Ratave, Mendy, all the stuff in a couple of weeks. After the end of the URC, we're gonna go deep, and we're gonna maybe give votes. Maybe we're gonna see some award for these players at the end of the season.
Yeah, we're back, boys. One last thing. I think we were talking about sort of who to vote for. We want to hear, we want you Italian fans to be part of the voice. So please let us know, comment on like who you think deserves, even if it's someone innocuous, right? So like we had Zambonin. If there's someone else that you think has been a standout and, you know, maybe overshadowed by some other, just let us know in the comments. We want to know, okay?
And then, of course, it's gonna be time for the Fratelli di Rugby Awards. So we're gonna have the best 15 with the Italians. So
do I have to get my bow tie out and everything?
Yes, of
ready?
course, mine too.
Okay. Right,
There's
cool.
no, you got the one with the sticks.
Mate, I'll get a little smoking jacket, velvet. We're fine. Don't worry. I've got it. We're good.
Perfect. Cool. Right. Listen here. But anyway, thank you everyone, and see you next time with a new episode of Fratelli di Rugby. Don't forget to subscribe, to give a shout, to repost and be live with us. We're gonna let you know next live when it's gonna be for the podcast. New comment, new stuff coming, who knows, but for now, go Gloucester. See you next week. Mike, hope to see you soon.
Ciao.
Bye.